AJ Barnes, and this is Jonathan McKinney.
Hello.
And you are listening to episode 2 of our week-by-week breakdown, analysis, discussion, conversation about the new Marvel show on Disney+, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That is correct.
So we've done episode 1, obviously, and so this is going to be episode 2. So what we do is we take the episode, we do a plot analysis where we break it apart, we talk about everything that happens in this episode. Then we do what we like, then we do what we didn't like, and then we do a thoughts and theories section where we discuss what we think is going to come, or things we think will be developed and why. And I say this as if we're very strict and organised about our discussion, and we are really not, because we get all over excited and go off on tangents, but basically we try to stick to those as elements of the episode and the podcast, and to try and bring you the best top-notch quality poddling entertainment possible.
That is our mission.
Did you enjoy poddling?
Yes.
I thought so.
That is verbatim what we are here to do.
Poddling.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the episode opens up and it starts with the new Captain America. And I have to say, he looks a lot better out of the suit.
Well, even in the suit, a little later, he looks better than he did at the end of the previous episode.
I really, in my head...
He had an old man gun in the
honestly,
instance.
I thought when we were introduced to him at the end of episode 1, I thought he was Weasley. I thought he was like little and sort of skinny and gawky and like a real nerd. And then you meet John Walker. Walker. Yeah, he's big he's big and strapping and an actual good soldier with real training and real accomplishments. And I really, from that first introduction to him, I was not expecting. I knew it was him only because of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he sort of moved his mouth, like, it's got that sort of tight, like small lips, quite tight lips, sort of small.
He's got a big chin, like a big jawline.
Yeah.
But the mouth is a little
smaller,
reduced.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's the new Captain America, and I would not have known that. You see him at his old high school, he's being introduced, and then essentially the audience is told about him, why he has been chosen as the new Captain America, everything he's accomplished, and you're like, yeah, alright, legit, you are...
He's alright.
He's alright, he's a good guy, he's got a nice way about him. I was all prepared to hate him, and don't get me wrong, I hate him later.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning of it, I was like, okay, I misjudged you as a Weasley Ratman.
A Weasley Ratman.
A Weasley Ratman.
Yeah.
And you're not a Weasley Ratman, you're actually an accomplished gentleman.
Yeah, we see him throwing the shield
a
boot.
He throws the shield a boot. He's a qualified soldier. You can see why he was picked. I was impressed.
Yeah, so I think that I wanted to say at this point that this sort of team of storytellers doing what they do really, really well.
Yes, they do.
Just this character is introduced, but he has to be a functioning human being in the world that he's in. There's got to be reasons why he's given this honour, as I think he describes it, of being the new Captain America.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy that we start the episode in his apprehension, his vulnerability.
Exactly. You see his lovely wife, how they've been together since school.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was wife. I don't know, was that confirmed that was his partner?
You know what? I mean, it was confirmed in that she says, I love you, he says, I love you too, and they have a kiss.
Do they kiss?
Yeah.
I didn't remember the kiss. I wasn't sure if that was
I genuinely, I don't know if it's his wife, but his lovely partner.
Clearly someone that he's very, very close to.
Yeah.
Who supports him and
exactly.
He respects.
And he's got his mate, I do know what name they gave the superhero identity for this guy.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
I've forgotten as well. It's not.
It's not.
No.
The focus.
As we go on, we're going to get more in depth.
Yeah, I agree. But he's got his mate who's like, you can do it, and it's all very. Yeah, and he goes out and he's like, I'm so proud to be here, and he sort of says to his friend, like, I want to get on the job. I don't want to just be doing going around network interviews and stuff. But he's like, that's the job. That's part of it anyway. Like.
Yeah.
And so then, right? Okay. So something we talked about last week was we said they're going to put Falcon and Bucky Barnes together, right?
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, how long is that going to take? Because we end on the sort of maudlin, Bucky sort of being all sad about Mr. Yuri, and Falcon being all sad about Captain America. There's no sign of them getting together. And I was like, are they going to take a long time to put these characters together? And it was like, nope, bam, right.
But they found a natural way to put them together.
Exactly.
Which is not the job that they go to do, but the fact that Bucky wants to confront him about the
giving
shield.
up. Exactly.
Because that's the first thing I think Bucky would do.
Yes.
He clearly, as we see in his therapy session later, is affected by this decision that Sam makes.
And it's really good because they're immediately together and they have like, he's calling him Buck, and he's like, you can't call me that. He called me that. And, like, you haven't known me long enough. Because, and he calls him, like, old man, and, like, how he's been around. But, like, it's really good because they are immediately thrown together. And there's no mess. One of the things, right, I love about these shows is there is no messing around.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, right, these two characters, we've introduced them separately, shown where they're at. You know we're going to get them together. We know we're going to get them together. So bam, look, they're together.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, these bad guys, these villains we've introduced you to, we aren't going to leave it hanging. We aren't going to have it as a background potential threat. Bam, we're going to send them. Like, it gets on with business. It's straight to it. There's no fucking around here.
I agree. I think it's the best way to go because, yes, there could be a long, drawn-out thing where they find more and more reasons to delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, once you put them together, you're then, as the writers, you're given the challenge of coming up with what happens next, and that's what Marvel thrives on.
It really does. It's like, what's next? You're right. Is Marvel fodder? Like, it's like you were saying the other day about the improv sessions, like the yes and
yeah,
and I feel like that's exactly what Marvel is doing. They're like, yes and is a motto in their writing room. Like, okay. So yes and because they just it's constant.
Well, so much of what we've seen from the Disney Plus TV shows in Marvel is the sort of hangover from things that have happened in movies that we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I don't want to jump into things I want to talk about when we get to them, but I might as well say what's on my mind now because so if we just I should wait. Because there's stuff I want to talk about during the action scene.
That's fair enough.
Which I think speaks to what I'm talking about. But
so they get together on the plane then. We'll go back to when they first get together and they're on the plane and Bucky's like, yeah, I am coming. And you've immediately got, I love the dynamic between these two characters because we've never seen that.
No.
Bucky has barely spoken and Falcon hasn't really been involved with him. He's just been like...
Well, when you've got a friend and that friend is friends with someone else. So you're in common because you both are friends with that person. But if you go on a night out and that person isn't there for whatever reason, say they need to go to the loo, or whatever, and you're left with the friend who you don't know, but they're a friend of your friend.
I've been like in the pub with Rachel and Katie. And Rachel is my friend,
right? And
Katie is my friend, but Rachel and Katie do not know each other other than I have mentioned.
You have to run off and deal with and
it has
Buffy
happened.
In the toilet or whatever.
I've had to go for a wee, and I've come back, and Rachel and Katie are making sort of polite but slightly stilted conversation because they don't know each other as well as they know me, and they know me really well. But it's really funny because they have this sort of like they've got a camaraderie. But it's with a sort of jealousy of each other's relationship with Steve Rogers.
And it's muddied by the fact that Bucky's annoyed with Sam.
Bucky's annoyed with Sam for giving up the shield. And Sam is like aware that Bucky was a villain in this whole sort of saga. And they've got this friend who's gone who was like really important to both of them. And they've been through an Infinity War together.
Yeah.
So they've been through like massive emotional turmoil together, but barely know each other. And it's real. It's like they have sort of old friend energy. Like, we've been through a whole lot of shit together. Old friend energy. But also, we barely know each other and we kind of don't trust each other either. Energy. And it's really good. And they play it so well. And they have teasing. Like, when Bucky throws himself out of the plane.
Yes.
Like after Sam has gone off with his wings.
Yeah.
And he says, I got that all on camera, right? Like, it's a friendly, we know each other. Like,
it's not that awkward.
It's not that awkward.
Or it might be, but they're both quite sort of alpha and not shy about being a prick. Like,
it's very old friend sort of taking the piss out of an old friend for screwing up, but in a it's not hostile, it's not aggressive, it's just ha ha ha, you fell. So they have got this, we've been through shit energy, but with this layer of just we have a difference. We aren't quite in the right place, and that is all the way through. And then, they go off to the Flagshagger's base.
Yes.
And, they, Falcon gets to show off his tech, because Bucky's all like, I can see 3 guys, we can take them. And Falcon's like,
two guys. Two guys becomes 5, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, 2? You really? He's like, well, let's check that out then, shall we? And it's really funny, because he gets to be all big one over it, and it's really good. And... then they think they see the hostage. And so... The girl.
Yes.
So Bucky goes into the... Right, I have a question, right?
Okay.
So Bucky... It is Bucky who lands on the... Yeah, it's Bucky. Lands on the back of the truck, right?
Yeah.
Rips the door open.
Yeah.
Right, there's a truck driving behind them.
And they just don't seem to notice.
I'm assuming it's because they know that the girl inside can take care of shit herself, right?
That's the only way to explain it.
But you think that
weird.
They're like, oh, we probably ought to alert somebody.
What can you do if you're driving that truck?
Do some honking.
I think what I would... Yeah, some honking would help. Like, I think if
Hi, I've seen you.
If you were directing it, you'd at least show him or her, see what's going on, and be a bit like, oh shit. Cause
there was a couple of things in this episode where I was like, you've either cut something because you ran over, or
but
just
they don't run over though, because it's up to them,
exactly. But anyway, we'll move on because I can discuss that later.
Okay.
So he goes in, he sees the girl, and she's great at being all vulnerable and scared.
Yeah.
Right. I have a theory. Oh no, we aren't doing that yet. You see, I know what he said.
Screw it. Let's just hear it.
So she puts the mask on.
Yes.
I think possibly they are not super soldiers. Right?
You think it's like superpowered mask power?
I think it is wizard, because they said it's the big 3, right? It's either wizards, aliens, or robots. And what the androids? What do they call it? Yeah. Right. I don't think they're super soldiers at all, because they do not fight until they put the mask on. He's seen her face.
Okay.
There is literally the only reason to put the mask on is either symbolic or
the mask is like a
the mask is
device.
A wizardry. I think the mask is a wizardry.
I can't remember if there's any moment that we've seen so far where there's any super strength demonstrated without a mask on.
The only super strength we see demonstrated, I think, in this episode is from Isaiah.
That's not true.
I mean, without the mask, from people we don't know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like, from people we don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Of the bad guys.
I don't think they do, because they all wear the mask.
No, but you weren't necessarily... Well, how long were you looking out for it? 'Cause you weren't looking out for that last week.
No, I wasn't. You're right, but they all wear the mask, and it really stood out to me this time.
Well,
she didn't do anything until she put the mask on, and then they make a big close-up on them, like the mask. And why? I think there's a reason. I think that the mask is the wizardry, and I think there is a sorcerer or wizard behind the magic masks.
It is odd that both Sam and
fake Captain America.
Faked in America.
Yeah.
Both mentioned the big 3, and it's not the big 3.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Right? I don't think they're super soldiers. And also, right, when they meet Isaiah, I know it's a whole... Like, I know race comes into that conversation, but they're shocked that there's a super soldier. It's not just... a black guy didn't get the credit a white guy did. And I know that's a big part of it. But it's also shock that there is another super soldier. Super soldiers are not common. This isn't a normal thing, right? And like that girl Carly, she's not some guy in a big army uniform who they're going to pump full of magic drugs to turn into a super soldier. Like, don't get me wrong, when she's got the mask on, she's fucking badass.
I hear you, and I don't know.
Of course not.
So Carly, right? Carly Morgenthau,
Right.
right?
Oh, he's on the IMDb's Podlovians.
No, I'm not. I'm on Safari.
Oh.
So
he was Podlovians. Carry on.
well, no, I was on Safari. I was on IMDb for something else.
Yeah, you were. Oh, right, fine.
I was on IMDb.
So tell me about...
I can be honest about it. I was on IMDb to check that it was Carl Lumley, because it is. I was on Safari to...
okay.
So
we can talk about Carl Lumley, because he's great. Right, carry on.
Right, the comic book character is not Carly Morgenthau, but Carl Morgenthau.
Oh, amazing.
And he is the Flag Smasher. So there you go.
Oh my gosh.
It's a real thing.
That's cool.
So they've done a
switcheroo.
A switcheroo.
I appreciate that.
A big Halloween switcheroo.
Yeah.
And they've I don't know if Carl was an Englishman, but apparently Carly is. I found it really odd when she first appeared. I thought she was a freckly Irish redhead.
Yeah, I thought she was
Irish.
Later,
I thought maybe she's biracial and has black hair. I was like really confused by.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she was Irish. Yeah, with the curls and the red hair and the freckles.
Yeah, but later on, I got a very different impression.
Yeah, I did, because she's so very English. But yeah, anyway, she's really good. Like, she's really good because she's very vulnerable.
Oh, I don't mean that I got a different impression because of her English accent. I meant that her skin colour seemed to change.
Yeah, I agree. She looked mixed race later.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's a very good performer. And as I say, she goes from being very vulnerable, and like even just that little scene in the truck when like Bucky is like, "Are you okay?" She looks incredibly vulnerable. I thought she was a child. I thought she was about 14. And then she hardens and she puts the mask on and then like throws him out. Right? Yeah. But I thought it was really good. But what's right, we have to just move on from this, right? Okay. So yeah, Carly's great. Then they're having this fight, and then eventually Sam rocks up, and he's like, "Where have you been? Like, nice of you to join me, I mean." And then new Captain America joins up, and I was like, "Oh my god, they really are throwing all these things together that we knew were going to happen, because we talked about it last week. Of course they're going to, because you've got the two old friends of Captain America who are obviously going to have to work together. You've got the new Captain America who is obviously going to be like a problem for both of them. And they have just shoveled them right straight together. Like, I'm really impressed. I was dead excited. I was like, okay, you're doing it straight away. You're not going to twat around pretending we don't know this isn't going to happen. You're just going to like, okay, we've set up what's going to happen. Now it's going to happen.
Yeah. So in the first episode, the action sequence of scenes, was
Sam with the helicopters.
Very impressive, but also not as personally complicated as this one. So in the first episode, there is one line of conflict, which is Sam wants to. I mean, in the action sequence of the first episode,
Sam wants to rescue the soldierman.
Yeah, and that line of conflict is complicated, and it becomes more tense as it rattles through itself. But in this one, you've got Sam and Bucky, who already have a personal conflict, fighting the bad guys on the train, the super soldiers on the train, and then the introduction of Captain America, the new Captain America, John, just complicates things further. So this is an even better action sequence.
It's brilliant.
Because all the way through it, there's just a lot going on. You've got the impressive feat of filmmaking that's happening.
Oh my gosh.
Impressive visual quality of it. I agree. But also, everybody's apart from Captain America's friend, everybody is clearly trying to wrestle with something besides the actual villains they're wrestling with. So you've got, obviously, Sam and Bucky are, they are clearly disturbed by this guy wearing that suit and throwing that shield around.
Yeah, I agree.
And he is trying to be the hero. Yeah. And he's obviously not ready, because Captain America, if it was real Captain America, would have been more than a match for these guys. I think.
Agree. He'd have just taken control of it. Because he wasn't just an experienced soldier. He was something else.
He was a super soldier, which so are they, or, wizard mask people.
Wizard mask people.
But he was also a good captain and a good soldier. So he is everything that John Walker is, plus
Super
Super Soldier.
Exactly.
And it's good because it did feel like Sam and Bucky, their capacity for incapacitating bad guys, right? There's a phrase for
That's
you.
very impressive. I enjoyed that.
Is clearly not as impressive as Captain America's was.
Yeah.
And so I know we'll get into the therapy scene.
Yeah,
but
we will.
I have to wonder if Sam... I mean, I know I'm getting the strong impression that Sam's reasons for not being Captain America are more to do with perhaps America not wanting him in his mind.
Yeah.
Based on who he is.
Yeah. I agree.
And I can't wait to get into that too, because this they're not messing around.
They are not messing
something
around.
To say about America, like the scene with the police officers.
100%. They are not twatting about here. They are going fully balls deep into like story.
Yeah, and they can go there because Captain America and Bucky Barnes are both from the 1930s, 1940s. So they're like America. Not that it's necessarily a
much better,
bastion of enlightenment when it comes to
but
race.
100%.
Now,
like that's why Isaiah is such a great character to have introduced at this point, because they are like, we are dealing with this shit now.
Yeah.
So this is a great character to introduce now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that these podcast episodes, so Podlovians, these podcast episodes are going to get longer.
I agree.
Because we're going to have to talk about this, and we're going to have to know what we're talking about, because it's going to demand
I agree.
of not just us, but of everybody to pay attention.
I agree, because they're telling you straight away that they are going to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And like real clearly, they're not being subtle. They're not like, hinting that maybe we might talk about racial tensions in America.
There were hints of this in the first episode, like when Sam's sister says, "Why does it always have to tighten around us?" Yeah. And like it could play as me and my family.
Yeah, just unlucky family, but
she means black people.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's not clear that the bank wouldn't have given them the loan had they been white people. And that this is.
But they are building it, and they are building it at a really good little pace, where they're like, we are going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so we go on. Right.
Yes, we'll go on.
They, Bucky and Sam get thrown off the truck.
Yeah.
And like rolling along.
They are rolling along, having a nice cuddle as they roll about in the fields. On the fields of wheat. Like Theresa May.
Like Theresa May. And then they start walking away. And like they have like a real sort of glum but determined march.
Yeah.
And then Captain America and his mate rock up in their truck.
Should we find out what his mate's called?
We should.
You carry on describing the scene while I find out what this guy's called.
New Captain America and his mate pull up in their truck, driven by some other guy, and are like, "You need a ride, get in." And Sam and Bucky just completely blank him and just keep determined trudge marching on him. And he's like,
Battlestar. How do we forget that?
Battlestar, of course. It's Battlestar Galactica, man.
Exactly.
But so he keeps walking. They keep walking, and he drives on ahead, and he keeps trying to negotiate with them, and he's talking to them. And eventually, because he's like, we have to work together because, all these reasons, blah, blah, blah. So they get into the truck and they're driving along, and honestly, it's so funny because Bucky is just glaring, and he's got a full, and he says to him, he's like, does he talk?
Yes.
He's like, you get used to it.
Because they've had the back and forth about the staring before.
Yeah, exactly. And Bucky Barnes is just sitting there glaring. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is the character we know and love from before, who didn't talk much and just glared at everyone in silence. And then, they quit on him because he's...
Well, it's interesting again. Because, so Battlestar, I'm just looking at this picture from the comic books of Battlestar, right?
Aye.
Right, so Captain America in the MCU has Sam as his, and according to the new Captain America, wingman.
Yeah.
Right? And it's that moment that pisses Sam off and he joins Bucky in...
Storming off.
He says, it's always the last line. It's always the last thing
he says always the last thing you say,
yeah. The new Captain America, and I'm just looking at this from Sam's point of view, right, in that truck.
Right.
The new Captain America has a black wingman with him. Battlestar.
Yeah.
So Captain America gets to be white with blonde hair.
Yeah.
I feel like Sam has already resented this.
Yes.
And that's why, as we mentioned before, he is antagonized by the fact that there was a black super soldier out
Yep.
there.
And
This
it makes complete sense.
He's like, but it couldn't be me, right? He's thinking it couldn't be me in that fucking suit.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't be me this time. It couldn't be me then, because Isaiah.
I think Isaiah, but I might be wrong.
He was the Sam, the Battlestar.
Yeah.
Just another guy, another black man standing next to the white Captain America, who everybody looks to as the symbol of hope and American virtue.
And because he's black, he doesn't get the credit.
He has to stand next to him.
And he gets sent to prison.
Yeah, for 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Getting tested and.
Although that wasn't like America. That was that Hydra.
Well, I honestly.
Because he says your people, and he says, oh, not to take it personally, but no, he thinks he means Hydra.
Yeah.
But we'd have to watch it again to make sure.
But basically.
But it's still not a good, but Captain America was on ice. So, it wasn't like he was out being.
Yeah, I know. It's just it was striking. That was a really good scene. Carl Lumley,
yeah.
I mean, he's always great.
He is.
Because we were like
Dixon
in Alias.
First and foremost.
Yeah, to me, he's Dixon. He will always be Dixon.
The hierarchy of this man's performances for me, Dixon, even though you're the Alias person, but he's obviously a main player in that.
Yeah.
Then the guy from 3 Meetings in 22 Hours, or whatever the episode's called, from The West Wing, where he has a meeting with Josh about reparations for black people, right? And that's why it's interesting for this episode. I
agree.
Because they have this long conversation, and it ends with them sort of both getting frustrated, and it's a bit of an odd ending, because, well, I won't get into that now, but it's well written. It's Aaron Sorkin. So. Yeah. And then the third one is he plays a character called Bulldog in Battlestar Galactica, who was...
I don't remember that episode.
He was like captured by the Cylons, so we're going to get into a bit of Battlestar here. He was captured by the Cylons. He arrives in the fleet, like he escapes from the Cylons and comes back to the fleet, but then like Adama has this history where he let him get shot down, and Adama worries that is what started the war.
I'm getting
all this stuff, but it's brilliant anyway, and he's very, very good.
And he's brilliant in this scene.
Yeah, and he plays and the other one, and I think this is probably going to go up higher, but he plays the guy from The Shining in the in the not the remake, but the sequel,
Doctor Sleep. Yeah,
he plays the guy who says to the boy, I don't know the names of the characters in The Shining very well. You don't want to get sued. You got to use that shin of yourn.
The shin of yourn.
But no, not Willie from The Simpsons. He plays the old guy who watches TV in his room and he's and then gets the axe in the back. But
he's really good, and in this he's intense.
Wait, if he gets an axe in the back, why is he alive later?
People survive axes.
Getting an accident. Okay, fair enough. So he does. But yeah, he's very good, and he's very good in this too.
Yeah, he's really good. And it's very interesting. I really like, if we're talking about the racial stuff, like when they're walking to the house, and he's like, hey, it's the Black Falcon.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
And he's so easy about it.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's Falcon.
It's just Falcon. And he's like, no, my dad said it was the Black Falcon. He's like, well, because I'm black and the Falcon. And he's like...
And it's really interesting because he'd said, oh, you've been in Wakanda, so now you're the White Panther.
Yes, yeah.
And he says, no, I'm the White Wolf.
White Wolf.
Yeah. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
But it's fun because they're talking about it. They're talking about the Black Panther. I mean, God rest his soul and all that.
Yes.
But how he's Black Panther.
Yeah.
And not
but
just
then even that
Panther.
That's to do with the Black Panthers in America, like going back.
I know, it's been things I've seen people talk about like he can't just be Panther, he has to be Black Panther. Well, so when it's Falcon, of course it's Black Falcon. He's like, no, it's just Falcon.
Yeah. But so and he's like, you're black, does that make you black, kid?
Yeah, and his mate's laughing.
And his mate's laughing. He's like, I got him with that one. It's great, isn't it? Like,
really good. He's like, see, I'm making a point, but I'm not.
Yeah, he's not a self-righteous asshole about it. He's easy about it.
Yeah, he's just like, this is the point. Like, so it's cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't come across like he's judging Black Panther for being Black Panther.
No, he doesn't exactly. But I mean, as I say, I mentioned that only because literally,
well, in the universe that we're watching, that they both exist. So.
Yeah, and also it was mentioned White Panther as a thing,
and I feel like the boy's dad, isn't getting judged or any shade from Sam.
Yeah.
Because he's probably like, no, he's not. He's ours. He's black.
Yeah.
He's black Falcon. He's stressed this to his son.
Like, that guy is a black guy, yeah.
And Sam's not judging any of that, I think. He's just saying, well, it doesn't have to be, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good. I really, like, the more remember how we said last week, like, we haven't really got a real connection to either Falcon or
I love them both. Yeah.
Winter Soldier. I love these guys.
Yeah.
And it took, like, an episode and a half, and I was like, even less, probably an episode and like an eighth. And I was like, yep, love these guys.
Yeah, it's real good.
Really good.
And we're both smiling and we're talking about it. So that's a good start.
It's really good. I really, really enjoyed this. So what happens next? So what have we got?
Well, we've kind of skipped a lot of shit before we get to...
We do. We have to have them Bucky being arrested.
Oh, that happens after the...
Yeah. Do we have to go for something before that, though?
The stuff with the flag smashers, I don't feel like there's that much to talk about. I mean, one
country, one people.
One nation, one people?
Nation, one people.
Is it one nation? One something, one people.
One
world, one people.
One world, one people.
Yeah, which is, it's a very compelling argument.
I enjoyed the fact, that they're being welcomed, they're being...
But then that's like an imperialistic notion where you remove everybody's right to self-determine by saying you must be part of this one world, one people.
But I enjoyed...
It's like, well, what if we don't want to be? It's like, well, tough shit you're going to be. That's Rome.
I enjoyed the... I agree. Yeah. But I enjoyed the recognition that people want them. And he talks about how the people who came back mattered more than the people who stayed. And you can imagine that, because the people who stayed have always been there trying to make a way, trying to make a life, forged a new life in this world, and have acquired homes and made businesses in this new world, right? And then all these people come back, and those homes belong to other people now, and the businesses aren't viable because they were built on an old business model. And it's interesting because you can see how people would feel like that. And I enjoy a sympathetic villain, like an antagonist, when you're like, I don't agree with you, I don't think you're doing the right thing, but I see why you've got there. And I think we're going to find out more and more about Carly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, clearly. I mean, I'm going to sort of resist looking too much.
Yeah, I don't like to.
Well, no, because normally I do, like with Agatha Harkness and with
but I
things.
don't. I never do.
No, I mean in the comic books. I was reading a lot of comics, so I was able to bring a lot of speculation about, because the comics don't contain spoilers. They're something else. Yeah, that gets to sort of enrich.
But I mean, I literally avoid articles and things shared on Twitter. The theories and the conversations that happen. I'll have conversation about the episode, but I don't look to find out more because I don't want to. Because I haven't got a lot of comic book history knowledge of these. I am a film and television universe fan, so I don't want to read things that might change how I experience it. But anyway, they start having a fight outside Isaiah's, and the police rock up.
Right, so are we happy with what we've said about what happens inside Isaiah's? Because we have touched on it, we've talked about it, we've talked about Carl Lumley.
Tell me, say more if you want to.
No, I think I'm happy with...
Like, super soldier, unrecognized, angry.
Yeah. And I think he's just well performed, well
brilliantly.
Everything, like, it's made apparent that he's super by the fact that he throws something into the wall.
Cigar box,
yeah, into, like, it, doesn't just dent the wall.
Yeah, but that embeds
into the wall, yeah. So they go outside and then they're
having an argument, and the police rock up and try to, like, they act like Sam is a threat and a danger, and they're saying to Bucky, like,
is this man bothering you?
Yeah, and they're like, what? No, get lost. So they're pushing Sam to give them ID. And he's like, no, I don't have to do that. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just having a conversation with this guy. And they're like, no, you have to give us ID. He's like, I do not. And Bucky says to them, don't you know who this guy is? And it's only when Bucky intervenes that they actually look at him.
Yeah.
Because they recognize him instantly. It's instantly.
Well, the one of them does. The other one needs to have it pointed out.
Yeah, but the fact is, if they actually...
neither of them had paid enough attention to him because they saw only one thing about him.
Exactly. And as soon as Bucky, the white guy, says, don't you know who this is? Then they actually look at Sam's face and recognize him. And then it's Bucky, the one who's getting arrested.
Yes, but that's because there's...
Yeah, I know, but it's just funny. They rocked up because, oh no, a black man is shouting and angry. Ignore the fact the white man is shouting and angry.
Of
and
course,
it's the white man who actually has to get arrested.
Yeah. I mean, this would be like... I feel like in the United Kingdom at this very moment in time, the equivalent would be a man and a woman.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's just an unpleasant reality that we're all sort of in.
Yeah, I agree. You're right.
The police are hassling women here, and they are hassling black people in America.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not like woke. I think that is a fact, right? That is a fact.
I think proven fact by the media coverage of the different events going on.
And, you know, reports from
the actual people
affected. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. But then of course we get to the thoroughly excellent.
Right, because the reason he's been arrested is that he did
not
go
to his court-mandated therapy,
which is very important, and he must go.
Oh my gosh!
Sam goes with him, and the therapist wants to see both of them, and they're not sitting closely enough. They must sit more closely together until their knees are almost certainly touching Wang.
I enjoy the nods of sort of.
We're very close.
Not homophobic, because it's not.
It's not homophobic. It's just physical awkwardness.
But they have the rolling along together, sort of embraced after the truck. Then they have the knee on Wang. Then they have gazing into each other's eyes, and it's just teasing the homoerotic like.
Yeah,
it is. It really is.
It's playful with the energy between the physical energy between them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not in any way saying that they're attracted to each other. Like, it's not. But it's just playing with the fact that when you've like two guys who are close, who are fighting together, it just plays with it. And I really enjoy it because they're both really awkward.
It's an incredibly funny.
It's so funny.
Scene. And then it gets so
real.
Like,
yeah, it goes from you guys are having a staring contest, aren't you?
They're trying not to blink. So she clicks her fingers and says, "Oh, just blink."
And then he talks. He says, "Like you gave it up."
Right. So this what Bucky says, right? I was aware that it was to do with the shield. Obviously, it was to do with giving up the shield. I was aware that Bucky might say everything up until the moment where he says, "Maybe he was wrong about you."
And then he was wrong about me.
And I was like, yeah. That's what I expect Bucky is bothered by. Maybe he was wrong, you know, all of that stuff. But then that means maybe he was wrong about me. And in that moment,
he
struggles to get the word fully out. His eyes moisten a little bit.
Isn't he brilliant?
Yeah, he is. And it's directed brilliantly. Everything's brilliant. And Sam matches him perfectly. Sam's not just immediately like, oh, you're clearly having a breakthrough here. I'll be nice to you. He's like, look, and speaking about the race again, he says, this might be something that you and Steve could never understand.
Yeah.
But I don't think I did the wrong thing. I did what I thought was right.
Like, I agree. And he's carrying his own. Neither of them is the wounded victim in this situation. Both of them are equally carrying their own shit.
Yeah.
And he says, we're going to put it aside and like then we'll go on a long holiday and never see each other again.
Yeah.
Then they go and hang out with the new Captain America and Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
And
which is fun that we have a character called Battlestar and a character from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
But that's his name from the comic books because here's a picture of him.
I see.
He's
very American.
Yep.
And they like he keeps trying to hassle them to join him.
Yes.
And when they say no, we're free agents kind of thing, he's like, well then don't get in my way.
Yeah, something to that effect. Like, stay the hell out of my way, or like, you better not get in my way. Something threatening anyway.
Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, love to hate this guy. Because we
got to have that. Because we talked about this last week, how if Sam is going to take the identity of Captain America,
he has to be a baddie.
Well, in this show, he's going to have to take it from this guy. And if he takes it from this guy because this guy's not quite up to it, that's not very satisfying.
Yeah.
Because
I agree. And it's so, like, until that moment, he's fine. He's a good person. He's a good guy. He's trying his best. He wants to be good. He wants to represent well.
And also, he's entitled to say what he says, too.
Yeah.
Because, yes, Sam and Bucky are our protagonists, so they're the ones we are interested in.
Yeah,
but also he's got a mission, and these guys are saying we're not going to help you, and he's saying, well, I'm going to do what I need to do. So yeah, stay out of my way, pals, because otherwise I'll go through you to get what I need to get done.
Yeah,
and he's not wrong. He's not being a baddie.
no,
doing that.
He's not. It's just he's then set against our protagonists.
Yeah, he's framing himself as a potential antagonist for them, which allows that conflict to grow to the point where he becomes someone you really want to see have that identity taken from him.
I feel like I'm going to love to hate this guy.
Yeah, I think we're already there.
Yeah.
Because I liked his scene, to skip all the way back to the start, where he's...
vulnerable.
Well, yes, but when he's having the interview in the school, like in the football field, and she says to him, like, do eagles fly over your head?
Yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, and flags
like,
waft majestically behind me. Yeah, he's very self-aware and he's humble.
Yeah, he is. Or at least he can perform it. Like,
it's fun to be like, no, it's fine, I can hate you.
Sure, I mean, of course you can, yeah.
So tell me what happens after they separate.
I think that there is an action scene that I don't remember much from because I don't think it did a lot. There's a scene where one of the Flag Smasher group, there's a lot with them. They're in a foreign country somewhere, and it's a real country, Bratislava, in Slovakia.
Yeah. Not
Sokovia, which is where Zeke thought it was. And I said, no, Slovakia, Bratislava. There's a guy pushes down a tree or a
pole.
Yeah,
of course, so they can escape on the plane.
Walks into a volley of bullets.
And Carly gives him a hug, and she's really sad watching him go. But he puts his mask on to push the telephone pole down.
Right, I don't remember.
He did, because I noticed it, because I wondered about it.
I trust you, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
so.
He's saying goodbye, and then as he walks up to the pole, right, as the car,
he puts one of his enchanted masks on.
He puts one of his enchanted masks on.
Well, they needed to do a better enchantment on the mask then, because the bullets went into him and
killed him. But he's super strong, and he can push the thing, and he's able to walk towards them and be shot, but he does get
killed. Walk towards people who were going to shoot me and be killed.
I know, but you couldn't push a telephone pole down.
In fact, I would be annoyed having to wear my mask, because we're still in COVID time, and nobody wants to wear the masks. Not because, no, we're willing to. We're not saying we shouldn't have to, any of that bollocks.
We should have to. Masks now.
Well, it's not even bored, it's annoying. I have to take my glasses off, but anyway, that's not the point. We salute wearing masks, and we think you should wear your mask over your nose, not just underneath your chin like someone,
So they escape. I'm just going to cut you off there. I love you.
It's fine.
They escape with boxes full of something. And she said earlier in the thing, after tomorrow, there's no going back. Yeah. So whatever's in those boxes and whatever they're going to do with them, we assume an explosive.
All of this villain stuff will make more sense when we watch the series again a second time when we've watched it all through.
I agree.
Because at the minute, it's just the bad guys, they're doing bad guy things. That's fine, I get it, but I don't care about the Flag Smashers at all yet.
No, I agree, but I'm curious. So then what happens? Remind me.
Well, I think then you get the scene where I think it's over. I think the Bucky and Sam have a conversation, and it's well written because they are discussing going to see someone. And I was like, have I missed something?
Oh, of course, and it's Baron What's-His-Face.
It's Baron What's-His-Face, famous character from Marvel Comics, Baron What's-His-Face.
Zumo?
There
you go, I got there.
Zemo.
Oh,
Zemo.
Damn it!
We will call him Baron What's-His-Face Zumo.
That's a better name.
I don't think he's ever been called Baron Zemo in this, just Zemo, right? I mean, I think he has a first name. I don't think he's ever had the Baron part in the MCU.
Fred Zemo.
Freddie Zeems. Yeah.
And it ends on that.
I think he's got a first name in the MCU.
Clive.
Probably not Clive. Shall I go on to IMDb again?
So it's having that very operatic music, and it's
bit of chess.
Zooming in on the guy in the sun. Yeah, that's the end of it. So we've done a pretty good, I'd say.
It's just Zemo in here.
A fairly good summary of the old plot. So, Jonathan, what did you like?
So, well, to go back to that scene a moment, and it is something I liked. When they were talking about who they were going to go and see, I was about to ask you when we were watching it, who are they talking about? Are they talking about going to see Isaiah again?
Yeah, because I didn't know.
Or Captain America? I was really confused. I was like, who are they going to go see? Or the new Captain America? And then it got answered.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to go and see Zemo.
Yeah.
And I would have preferred, because that was literally answering my question in my head, which is good writing because they anticipated what the question they were posing was and then answered it in efficient time. But I think let's go see Zemo would have sounded more like something you'd actually say. Because we're going to go and see Zemo is a bit like if you and me are walking the dog, say.
We're going to go and walk through the park.
Yeah, you might say, like, if we were having a conversation that an audience was watching and they don't know which way we're going to go, are we going to go to the park or towards the school? And you're like, do you reckon we should? It might be busy. And I go,
we're going to walk through the park.
Yeah, because we know. Yeah. I wouldn't be like, yeah, we're going to walk through the park. I might as well look at the camera and go, do you get that?
Yeah.
Good. Like, it was great how it set up the question.
I agree.
But I thought the execution of, or not execution, but I thought how they answered the question was a little bit heavy, and it could have been subtler.
My favourite thing about this episode was the chemistry between Bucky and Sam.
Yes.
Favourite thing. More of that. Love that. The sort of awkward antagonistic buddy cop, kind of chemistry.
Yeah.
That is a thing I loved. I loved the hint at dealing with the racial tensions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so strong. And it's making a bloody stand. It's making a conversation. It's making something...
Having those police officers act like that is saying, we see this happening. Yeah. And we're not going to pretend it doesn't, because some police officers don't do it.
And the thing is, when you've got a black protagonist at this time in America,
yeah,
like, you are doing, like, the likelihood is he wanted to be able to do this because he's living that life too. I mean, the actual actor probably is like, yeah, of course I want to be able to do this. I want to use my power and influence in my role to make a statement, because it makes sense. And the fact they're able to do that, I mean, we've barely seen it yet. Like,
yeah, that's true. We have really only just started to.
And I feel like they are saying we are going to look at this.
Oh yeah, there's no question they're not going back. Like, they've had the police.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hassling him for being black. Like, that's the only thing. Yeah. That would have caused them to act the way they did.
So I think
everybody in the scene knew it, and only Bucky was a little confused by it because he's a really old guy who's got a head full of his own problems.
Yeah. But I think that I'm really excited to see how they do this.
Yeah. And if you couple it with the scene that I mentioned before about from last week, why does it always tighten around us? Then you get the idea that this is a theme that is going to be touched on, if not like heavy-handedly.
No, but they're going to
shoved in your face, but just played through.
They aren't going to shy away from the reality of a black Captain America as a thing.
They've made a choice. They're going to state something.
Yeah.
About America.
Yeah,
right?
I
Because
agree.
Captain America is supposed to represent everything America
exactly.
can be, everything good about America, and why couldn't it be a black man?
Yeah.
And like some people in America who are fans of comic books and the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It's a pretty safe bet that some Americans won't want to see Sam.
Well, think about how people in England react to the idea of a black James Bond. It's like...
There's always these morons,
exactly.
Right?
It's always like I'm just like, okay, yeah, Idris Elba would be a great James Bond. He's a strong, handsome man.
Yeah.
But some people are like, no!
But playing it in this series, because it seems to be the case that, I'm starting to feel like the reason Sam gave the shield back,
because he couldn't be a black Captain America.
Or it's not just, and I'm not saying that I think he believes that Captain America shouldn't be black.
No, but he couldn't.
But that America doesn't want him.
He couldn't do it because they wouldn't accept it.
Right? Because he's like, I can't be, Captain America in the first Avengers movie. He stands on a police car and barks orders at the police. And then the police like, who put you in charge? And then he kills like a Chitauri, and then they start taking orders and using their mics and stuff. He commands the police.
Yeah.
And not just in this world, in the real world that we live in.
Couldn't happen.
In the MCU, the police arrest you. Well, not arrest you, but they stop
interrogate you
and hassle you because you're a black person and you're having a little bit of a heated conversation with your friend. Sam going into this series seems to believe that America doesn't want him because he's black to be the beacon of all things, the
Yeah.
symbol of all things.
And he's probably not wrong for a lot of people.
Well, for a lot of people, but yeah, I think what we're going to get to is Sam saying those people can fuck off.
Yeah, I agree, because
he's American. Why shouldn't he be?
Yeah, and because I think he's like, no, they won't accept me. I couldn't do it because they wouldn't accept me. But I think that we're going to get to a point where he's like, A, the people that won't accept me as Captain America are just wrong. And B, he's going to see all these people. And there's a lot of black people in America. Even if all the white people didn't accept him, there's a lot of black people in America.
Well, and a lot of people from all over the...
Exactly. Who would be
all sorts,
thrilled to see him. So I think, we're going to see... I think I'm going to cry.
Well, I think it's going to be a really rewarding journey, right?
I think I'm going to cry.
Cry. WandaVision was
that made me ugly cry too. But I think, and I wasn't sure.
There's going to be a sort of scene where he's we're not seeing his face, but he's putting on the Captain America costume before going out to do something heroic And
honestly, I was like, when this first started, I was like, I think this is going to be great because it's Marvel.
It's Marvel, you trust Marvel.
I didn't think I would end up crying. But episode 2, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be a blubbering wreck on the floor. Because it's going to be incredibly moving and powerful.
I thought that when Bucky said maybe he was wrong about you, and so maybe he was wrong about me, and because just the way he played it,
brilliant.
So and that's my worst fear, basically.
Yeah.
That the only person who I actually have a connection with in the world, who I look up to. And I've rooted all of my confidence in myself, in his confidence in me. But if he trusted you and you can't even, the minute you get given this amazing thing, you give it away, then maybe Steve's just a dickhead and don't know what the fuck he's doing. And he didn't know what he was doing about you. Therefore, I am still just a killer and a monster and not something worth salvaging.
I am so glad that they have given Bucky Barnes...
Yeah, aren't these just great characters and we're 2 episodes in?
I know, imagine, right? Because Sebastian Stan has been leaping around and glaring and doing all the angry goth superhero angry man, right? And he's very good at it. But when they actually give him a chance to act... Christ alive, this man is brilliant.
No, that scene with the one we're talking about, is
fantastic.
He breaks at just the right moment. He's embodied it completely.
Yeah, completely. And as I said, Sam and Bucky were characters that I was like, yeah, they're fine. I'm not I don't dislike them, but I'm not particularly bothered. I love these men. You
want to watch them roll around in the hay, don't you? In the fields of wheat with Theresa May.
I'm not looking for gay porn of these characters.
No, it's just they rolled about after they got blown off the thing.
I'm just clearing that up in case there's any confusion.
No, I wasn't confused about that. It was a joke.
I'm not going to be writing fan fiction.
Somebody will. Somebody's already doing it.
I agree. But anyway, I really like that. So what did you not like?
The flag smashers.
You need a more understanding.
I'm not judging the writing or the performances. I just. Those are the bits I was just like, I wonder what I'm going to eat for lunch. You know what I mean? Those are the bits I just they didn't hold my attention.
2 moments in this made me right?
Okay.
One, when Bucky Barnes is wrestling his way into the back of the truck and the truck behind him, just nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing. No response. And you're right, they might have been very confident that the girl inside with her magic mask could batter him. Fine. But a whole load of shit went on. All these other superheroes rocked up and these trucks were swerving all over the place and shit was going on, right? A little honkety honk on the horn would have been wise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we've had that one. What's the other one?
The other one is when Faked in America...
Yeah, Faked in.
Right, is chucked off the back of the truck, right? Lands in the windscreen of a car behind. Smashes and caves in the windscreen of a car behind. Just rolls off and stands there like, I'm like, is the person driving the car dead? Is he alive? Is he stunned? Is there children in that car who have just seen a man's arse cave in their windscreen?
Now you're assuming that the driver is male. Yeah. I assumed that a character would be male. We're both male defaulters today.
That's terrible.
I know.
But the point is, he or she, right,
Thank you.
driving that, you're welcome, driving that car, right, has just had faked in America's arse, cave in their windscreen, been slammed to a halt, right, and nothing. We don't know if they're dead, nothing. The car's stopped, the windscreen's caffed in, they're like, oh, we'll just sit here in silence and let faked in America look ponderously. Why aren't they screaming, getting out, checking on their kids, checking on their dog that's in the back of the car? What the hell are they doing?
One assumes that they're fine.
Well, why did they just sit there silently? Why aren't they like, dude, your ass just smashed in my window. The fuck? I hope you're going to pay for this.
Yeah.
Who's going to get me home? I can't drive my car now.
I mean, you don't want the episode to get overtaken with the people in the car. But a shot of the people in the car being like, oh my god.
That's all I would have needed, right?
And Podlovian's, I was holding an imaginary steering wheel.
He was performing
as though it had been pushed towards my face. So I was like, oh my god.
Because the thing is, the guy in the truck.
I could do it.
All you needed
was a
shot.
Radioactive man.
Exactly. All you needed was a shot of the guy in the truck, like, oh no, like maybe dialing a phone, right? The shot of the woman driving the car, like, oh my god, anything just to acknowledge.
Good female impression, by the way.
Thank you.
And it's because you went high pitch.
And also, I'm a female.
I know.
So yeah, but the point is,
oh my god,
I was very convincing as a woman then.
Yes, you were.
It's alarmingly convincing.
You were very
as a
believable
woman.
in your face.
Oh, thank you very much. My face. So yeah, those two moments both really pissed me off because I was like, oh, we're just pretending that nobody's behind those wheels. Those are robot cars.
Yes, robot cars. Robocars.
Yeah, robot cars.
Yeah. Or evil wizard mask cars.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, we have... Oh, thoughts and theories.
I think that the bad guys are not superpowered. I think they have magic masks.
That is an original and creative thought that you came up with all entirely on your own.
I know, and I want to take credit because it's clearly...
Your idea alone.
On the up and up.
Did you actually think, like, genuinely?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, so it's probably just me being crazy then?
No, it's entirely feasible. Like, it would be quite interesting to do. But, no, I didn't think that at all. Honestly, I've not really been paying attention to the Flag Smashers because I think they're a bit crap.
I can't get over the name. That bugs me.
Well, it's fine. It's because it's Carl Morgenthau, or now Carly Morgenthau. Again, you're gonna wind up the wokies, not the wokies, the non-wokies with this kind of storytelling. You're gonna advocate for a black man to be Captain America,
and you're changing a male character into a woman.
Yeah, female washing, a much beloved character from the Marvel comics called Flag Smasher, Carl Morgenthau himself, who everybody has always appreciated and has to be male.
Well. It's interesting because I'm on board with winding up the wokies and non-wokies. I feel everyone should be wound up more because they're... Yeah.
I mean, the people, like, there is a section of fandom. I think that when you talk about, for example, a character being whitewashed, there's a real complaint there. There's a real grievance there.
Oh, I agree.
But I think that reverse whitewashing is a very, very tenuous claim to throw at
But
people.
I'm also on board with everyone just getting over themselves.
Just chaos. You're just the Joker. You just want to watch the world burn.
I just want to watch the world. I'm basically our daughter.
Which one? I know which one you mean.
But both of them. My thoughts and theories are that I think Fakes in America is going to go more and more and more bad. Sam is going to become Captain America.
Yeah.
Bucky, I don't know.
I don't think he's going to become the Falcon. I think he's going to be... Maybe he'll become the White Wolf, but that's... I don't know. Maybe. Or he'll just make the Winter Soldier into something that's heroic.
Yeah. I'm curious because I don't have a real solid grasp on what I think will happen with that character.
The show is stating very loudly and clearly what Sam's sort of destiny and journey is going to be. But I agree. I don't know quite. Maybe Bucky will die.
Oh no! I've just started fancying him.
But there's death is always compelling on screen.
I know. But yeah, I agree. So thank you very much for listening to episode 2 of our The Falcon and the Winter Soldier podcast on Siren Stories, the podcast.
2 of 6.
2 of 6.
Because there's only 6 episodes of this one. We had 9 wonders, but only 6 Buckies and Sams.
Explains why they're moving so efficiently with the story.
Yeah, and why the episodes were longer.
Yeah. If you go to www.sirenstories.co.uk, over there you can subscribe to our website where there are writers and artists and musicians and podcasters all working as like one big fabulous collaborating melange of creative humans.
That is the official description of us. Yes.
Yeah. If you subscribe over there, you will be entered into the monthly free giveaway competition where you can win books or merch or shiz every single month, absolutely free. And yeah, you just subscribe once and you're entered every month. Subscribe to this podcast channel, listen to all of our stuff.
Yeah, I mean, MCU fans, you might enjoy my symphonic metal cover version of Portals by Alan
Oh my
Silvestri.
gosh, 100%. Find Jonathan McKinney's music channel on YouTube and listen to Agatha All Along and Portals and all of his other excellent things. But yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. There's all sorts of amazing creative people all associated with Siren Stories. So just go check it all out. Just go have a look. Just go enjoy it. Just explore.
Do
Just
it
have a
now.
look.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Stop
now.
procrastinating, Podlovian, and
now,
do it now.
Now. I feel we were emphatic enough.
Okay.
Excellent. And we will see you again next week for episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Good.
Bye.
Goodbye.